Welcome to Essay Hell. So you need to write your common application essay. Great. My advice would be for you to listen to this entire video on how to answer the fourth prompt and then go and start writing your essay. But once you have a rough draft, come back and watch it again. I'm going to give you a lot of information all at one time, and some of it will make more sense once you start writing. It's up to you. If you need to write an essay for the Common App, first read through all 5 prompts. If one jumps out at you, go for it. Otherwise, I think prompt 4 is one of the best ones and is your best chance to finding a topic that will produce a compelling and meaningful essay. The reason I love prompt 4 is that it asks you directly to write about a problem you faced or are still dealing with. Once you find a juicy problem, you will also find an awesome story. And awesome stories make the best essays. They also help you naturally reveal your raw determination, called grit, which colleges love. Let's start by quickly breaking down the prompts so you know exactly what they want. First, notice how you can either use a problem that you've solved or one that you haven't solved yet. Sometimes the problems that can't be solved are the most interesting since they are usually more complex and require certain qualities to handle them. So don't disregard a problem if you're still dealing with it. It might be a perfect topic for you. Secondly, this part of the prompt is just trying to help you see how many things can make a problem. They are not necessarily asking you to write about these exact topics, although you can. They are just suggestions. The most important message is that the problem can be anything, as long as it was personal and important. Thirdly, you don't need to have a problem that was huge or a catastrophe or total life crisis. All those can work really well, but the point is that you can write a terrific essay about a small or everyday problem. Finally, when you describe your problem, just make sure to include why it affected you and why that was important. This should be pretty natural to do after you share the problem. Then you can launch into how you handled it. Take the reader step by step. First I did this, then I did that. If your problem continued, then just talk about how you manage it, again, going point by point over time. Now that you know how to think about this prompt and what you need to include to answer it, it's time to find your own problem for your essay. Problems come in all shapes and sizes. Look at all these types of problems. Take your time to really brainstorm the different types. Has there been something you really wanted but an obstacle got in the way? Do you have an obsession that causes you grief? Did you make some type of mistake along the way? Remember, the reason a problem makes a great essay is that something happened. There's a little action or drama, and it was hard to deal with. But by dealing with it, you learn something. It's that simple. Where to look for problems. Search your past for times when things went a little sideways or something happened or things didn't work out as planned. These are all problems or the exact type of little real-life stories that you want to power your essay. There are so many great problems out there. Surely you can find one of your own. The point about your problem is not how big or weird it is, but what you did about it. For the purposes of an essay that's interesting to read, it does help if your problem has a unique story behind it. But after that, it's all about what you have to say about that problem and what you learned about yourself in dealing with it. Hint, if you think of a problem and think, my problem is too weird or intense or personal or embarrassing for me to write about, think again. Those often make the best topics. The prompt asks for a problem that was personally important to you. So personal is good. It makes the essay more interesting and also helps you connect with your reader. You just need to have the courage to try to share it in an essay. Show your grit. If you are a student who has faced some hard knocks in your life, such as dealing with difficult parents or lack of money or other hardships, this is the exact place to share your experiences. Colleges want you to show your grit, which means it helps them understand that you have the raw determination when it comes to facing problems. If you can deal with a personal problem, they know you can handle the challenge of college. Focus your problem. Essays that are too general tend to be dull and boring. The trick is to find something specific, at least to start with. When it comes to finding a great problem for your essay, look for a problem within a larger problem to share at the start. For example, if the larger problem is not having money, look for something specific that you had to deal with because of that larger problem, such as having to work nights at Jack in the Box or having to go to the dollar store for groceries. Once you think of a juicy problem, it's time to start writing. You might want to take notes as I step you through a simple way to write about your problem so you engage the reader at the start of your essay and then go on to explain what you learned from dealing with your problem. By the end of these simple steps, you'll be on your way to creating a rough draft. Start with a mini story. Describe the time you had a problem or describe a specific example of your problem. Include what happened and how it made you feel. Try to start at the moment it hit or happened for the best impact. Include the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Stick to 1 or 2 paragraphs for your anecdote. Include a snippet of dialogue. These mini stories come from real life, and they are called anecdotes, and you can learn more by reading about anecdotes on posts on my Essay Hell website. These anecdotes are what can make or break a killer college application essay. They're how you engage the reader with a real-life story and help them understand for themselves why your problem was so hard for you. This is how you show them instead of tell them about it. I highly advise you learn more about how to write these. There's a lot of help in posts on my Essay Hell website. Give some background. After you give your anecdote, you want to give some context for that mini story. This helps the reader understand the backstory to your anecdote that you shared in that first paragraph or two. Then share what you did about it. Talk about how you dealt with that problem. Mention how you felt at your lowest point. Then go into what you did about it. This is where you start to describe the steps you took to handle the problem. Start with what helped you decide to deal with it or where you drew inspiration or support. Then walk us through what you did. Remember, you don't need to have totally solved it. Just share how you handled it. Add depth to your essay. Analyze and reflect on that problem and your response. How did you think about it? How did you feel? Did handling it change you in any way or how you think about things? Share your thoughts on both the good and the bad of that problem. This is how and where you can explain the problem's significance to you, which the prompt asks you to do. So this is important stuff. Look for life lessons. What did you learn from dealing with that problem about yourself, others, or life in general? Did anything good come out of dealing with your problem? Did you develop or demonstrate a core quality in the process? Talk about that. This is your chance to develop more depth in your essay. Finally, it's time to wrap it up. Update the reader on the current status of that initial problem you shared in the introduction. You don't necessarily have to have solved it. Just explain briefly how things are going for you now, today. You could also give examples of how you applied the life lessons you learned from dealing with that problem in other parts of your life. Leave with a bang. In your conclusion, you can end by projecting into your future. Go ahead and share goals and dreams as they relate to what you've learned about yourself. Here's a sample outline. Start with describing the real-life problem, background the mini-story, describe the steps you took to handle it, reflect and analyze what you learned, share how you will apply these life lessons in your future. You don't need to stick to every step, and feel free to take your essay in whatever direction you want. Just remember that the point is to reveal how you think, what you care about, and how you learn. It's called your intellectual vitality, and college loved to see it in all shapes and sizes. You've learned how to answer prompt 4, but you might also have an essay now that could answer the other prompts. No matter which prompt you choose to address, if you start with some type of related problem, you'll be on your way to finding a compelling story that will help you craft a narrative slice of life essay. I would suggest you first find your problem and a related story, and then see which of the 5 prompts is the best match. Read sample essays. This approach will make so much more sense if you read some examples of real college application essays that were narrative in style and included the slice of life feature. You can search sample essays at the Essay Hell website, or you can read the collection of 50 essays in Heavenly Essays. You don't need to read a lot of them, but once you see how other students took their real-life stories and spun them into compelling essays, which also showed the reader what made them tick and helped them stand out from the crowd, this approach will make a lot more sense. You could also get great ideas for your own topics. Now that you know what to do, take the time to walk through these steps. You can do them at your own pace or in any order. It helps to give yourself little deadlines. Once you write a rough draft, get away from it for a day or two, then go back and read it out loud. Take out the dull parts and make improvements and other changes. Make sure to meet the word count. Once you have a rough draft, seek out other resources to help you improve your writing and learn how to edit your work. Your essay will be as great as the amount of time and energy you put into it. If you want to learn more about how to write these essays, there's so much more writing advice and tips on the Essay Hell website. Just go through the index on the right sidebar and find articles on everything from how to bump up a dull essay, to how to write an anecdote, to how much of a risk to take in your essay, and lots more. Best of luck to you.